15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake of fact, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis, and the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here now, your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Tonight's episode is presented by 26 Shirts here on Buffalo Fanbase Podcast Network. Please head on over to 26shirts.com for all the latest Buffalo-themed t-shirts. They all support a great cause with each and every purchase. So go and check it out. There's some great new themes on there and enjoy. Whew. Man, this has been a crazy 2 days. It's probably some of the craziest 2 days you can really go through for mid-June when it's supposed to be quiet time. This is the last time before the players will break. As you know, after the mandatory OTAs and minicamp are done this week, that's it. The guys are gone. They'll be gone for about a month until camp next month, and then that's it. This is the last time that you're going to see these guys for a little while. So you hope that everybody stays healthy, everybody stays out of trouble. But boy, do we have some news before they break camp tomorrow. Joining me as always, my co-host Adam Dump Truck Rupsick. Follow him on Instagram at Adam Rupsick, RUPCZYK. Holla at the crew dump truck. Man, they are going crazy. They are going crazy. Yep. Bills Mafia is going nuts. DT, You told me to stay off of WGR. You guys know here at Nickel City Crew, I'm an avid WGR listener. You told me to stay off. Shout out to Big Ben Fidel. They told me to stay off of WGR. I couldn't help it. And I wish I would have listened to you guys. It has been a madhouse on Twitter. I mean, it's been a madhouse everywhere I've been going, man. Holla at the crew, DT. What's good tonight, man? What's up?
Nickel City, we're back, Rob. Good to be back, man. And man, another starting off the year with some heavy drama, or at least alleged heavy drama, if you will. And we look back, and I'll say the cliche as we're lifting the Lombardi in February, we look back and say, hey, remember when Stefon Diggs drama and on June 13th, Rob? June 13th, by all means, 3 months before we even kick off. So let's buckle in and unpack this because, man, we got more defending to do, that's for sure.
It's crazy because I could have sworn that we took care of this a couple of weeks ago with the miseducation of Stefon Diggs. And then, we got some good feedback from that episode. And I really appreciate, the members of the crew listening and supporting it. Shout out to Justice General who was on and kind of helped us with some of that type of stuff and promoting it. It's been crazy, man. So as we all know, unless you've been under a rock, yesterday the Bills kicked off the final week of mandatory minicamp. Of mandatory minicamp. That was last week. This was, all voluntary. And then this week was the final week of OTA/minicamp. And it started out with a mandatory portion on Tuesday, today, Wednesday, which we record, and then tomorrow, Thursday, when we release these episodes. And Stefon Diggs was not there. Now, the tone to me, DT, was set by our wonderful head coach, who so many people love to genuflect and praise, Sean McDermott. He kind of set the tone by letting everybody know in the morning press conference that 89 players were there. Hey, 89 guys were there. One guy's not. Stefon Diggs is the name of the guy that is not here. And he was, quote, very concerned. Now, it's interesting that he was very concerned because he said it twice throughout that press conference and kind of left it at that. He seemed like he was a little bit pissed off. He was in a bad mood. Sal Capaccio kind of said and echoed the same thing on WGR yesterday. And then all of a sudden today, Stefon Diggs Actually, yesterday we still find out that he was at the facility, DT.
Yeah,
We find
he
out
was
that he was
there.
there. He got his physical on Monday, and he came back to the facility to speak with Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott on Tuesday yesterday. And then he allegedly left before practice. Now, obviously, what is an agent supposed to do when he catches wind of this? He protects his client. That's what a good agent will do. So, Adir Bakari lets everybody know that, hey, my client was actually at One Bills Drive. He was there. He got his physical done on Monday, and he left before practice, but he had every intention of practicing. He had every intention of participating for the entire mandatory minicamp session. And it was interesting to hear because it was quickly apparent to me that everybody was getting ready to choose their sides, and everybody was getting ready to pick where they were going to stand on this whole little so-called battle. And boy, did it become that. DT, man, the fans were ready to ship Stefon Diggs out of Buffalo faster than you can. I mean, than you could even blink yesterday. And it was wild. It was just a wild sequence of events because I was wondering, how the hell did we get here? How did we go from defending this guy a couple episodes ago and letting everybody know that he's, a great teammate. He's a, two-time captain voted by his peers. He's integral to what the Buffalo Bills do on offense. How do we go from that to this where they were ready to ship him out of town, DT? It was not a joke. You got a chance to see where a lot of people were standing in Bills Mafia on this particular subject. And it was, to be honest, it was a little bit frightening to see how many people were ready to get rid of a premier all-pro, one of the best wide receivers in the league in the prime of his career. They were ready to ship him out, and it was mind-boggling to me. It was mind-boggling.
Yeah, Rob, I'll admit I was wrong a few weeks ago when we did the miseducation of Stefon Diggs. I kind of was under the storyline of that there's some rumblings and talk about it, but I think it's a lot of media hype, and the fans themselves don't actually think these things, and would never want, Stefon Diggs to be out of here, or never actually give him shit for not going to voluntary, workouts or whatnot.
Right.
And then that's, I was proved wrong very, very quickly yesterday in the fact of, as soon as it happened, the switch was flipped and people were going at throats. And, it was something that we had to address 2 weeks ago because it was in the rumblings and people were talking about it. I hoped it was just, media hype and propaganda, if you will, to push something that wasn't there. And then something like this happens yesterday and all hell breaks loose. So I'm concerned on a few different levels of, the specific issue itself. And, definitely the way these fans react, because these players, as much as they're professionals and they tone a lot out, they hear a lot of stuff too. And 1-4 is in here busting his ass for us, being all pro, leading the team in all aspects, and being literally, like you said, the second best player on the team other than 1-7. So him putting in all his heart and soul into this field, and then he hears the fans immediately talking about that after one practice that nobody knows why or what, or
Right.
which we'll dig into tonight.
Yeah.
It could rub them the wrong way, and and that's not good either. So concerned on a few different levels tonight, Rob.
Yeah, man, it was interesting because the way that it turned so quickly made me a little bit uncomfortable, to be honest. Like I said, we joke around. You guys told me to stay off WGR. I couldn't. I was listening, and today I got to a point where I was listening to One Bills Live, and I literally had to turn my radio. I just had to turn the app off. I was like, okay, I can't. Back-to-back calls. He's a head case. He's paid. He should just go to practice. Nothing. He needs to be upset about nothing. Like we're in the locker room. Like we know what's going on, the dynamics of the team. And I think that that's one of the major things that people forget. We are not in the locker room, and we're going to kind of splice through what could be some of the things that he's upset about tonight and kind of do our own investigation here, our Nickel City and Crew investigation. But to be honest, we don't know. And because we don't know really what was bothering him in respects to his disconnect with the team, or whether it be with the coordinator, or whether it be with the coaching staff, or Josh Allen himself, the whole point is that I have to trust that the guys in the locker room, the coaches, will find a way to handle it. I have to trust that they understand. They know Stefon Diggs better than we do. They know Josh Allen better than we do. We really don't know what the problem was. And for the speculation, it's fine. It's fun to conjecture and to kind of figure out and kind of put the puzzle pieces together. And we'll do some of that tonight, obviously. But the fact of that, there were just so many just stern, staunch positions of he's bad. he needs to get out of here. He wants to go to Dallas. He wants to play with his brother and all this other weird stuff that was going around. Really, it was just disheartening, DT. Like, there's no other way to put it, because of the fact that without any facts, knowing anything, we were ready to turn on him. And I just was not comfortable with it. Again, we did that episode a couple episodes ago, the miseducation of Stefon Diggs, because we were trying to let everybody know about his passion. We were trying to let everybody know about some of the things that are important to him. If you don't think that 14 wants to win, then I don't know what else you think that he's after. He already got paid. He's already got the recognition. He's been an all-pro. He had a great career in Minnesota before he got here, but he wanted to raise it to another level. He wanted to go even higher. He wanted to be a better player. He thought that there was more meat on the bone, and he went for it. He forced his way out. He got out, and I'm happy that Brandon Beane picked him up, because he has raised and elevated the play of the offense. He has elevated and raised really the play of the team. He permeates throughout the whole team. We talked about it on that episode, DT. His energy is infectious. It affects the entire team in a positive way, not a negative way. It affects it in a positive way. And I just don't understand why you wouldn't want somebody like that on your team. But boy, Bills Mafia kind of stood up yesterday. Once that word mandatory came on, it was, boy, you better get to practice. You better be right there, ready to practice. And if you're not, you're trying to show up your teammates. And I just don't think that that's the case.
Well, let's get this point across, Rob. It's pretty much as close to impossible as it gets that Stefon Diggs isn't a build next year. Like,
Absolutely.
you're not gonna trade him. You're
No, not
losing
taking
out on
not taking a $30 million dead cap.
first round draft capital in that regard. You're not going to release him and take 30 million dead cap. It's literally impossible. He would not be, signed and he's
part of the
not.
team.
Yeah, exactly. So let's squash that right now. Like, there's no way he's leaving. No way they're looking into a trade for him. There's no way. So he's here. Let's figure out what the issue is to keep everyone happy, keep this cohesion, and win the Super Bowl. That's number one. And whatever we have to do to get there, if it takes a little more grit, if it takes a little more getting into asses, that's what we got to do, right? But let's squash that right away. And I was definitely uncharacteristic. Yesterday I'm pretty laid back in it, and I let people do their talking. But I was getting a little aggressive yesterday. Some people were catching the hands with me on Instagram too. I
ready to
just
ship
couldn't
him out
take
of
it.
town,
Everybody in the posts were like, everyone just had something to say. The pictures, the one picture, I won't say the handle. I won't say the handle, but it was like a picture of Diggs, and it said, this makes my tummy hurt or something. And I was just like, shut the fuck up. Like, come on. Like,
it's crazy,
but kidding me.
It's crazy though, because in times of adversity, sometimes you really do see where people stand, and that was one of the things that it was maybe the best thing about yesterday for me, was the fact that I was able to see where a lot of people stand. Not that it's obviously it's sports and it's nothing serious in that regards, but from a sports standpoint, from a Bills Mafia standpoint, I got a chance to know some of my fellow members a little bit better yesterday, because I was very surprised to see how many people were ready to ship him out of town.
But it's also on the reverse end that why we had this episode 2 weeks ago, because it was, fear mongering, like, oh, Stefon Diggs isn't at camp, and everyone starts, kind of talking about it. Oh yeah, he isn't at camp. Yeah, why isn't he at camp? And then all eyes are on this day. So I'm not saying it's anybody's fault in particular, but the media definitely gaslighted this thing to, for it to be a story, for this many eyes to be on it yesterday. If Stefon Diggs was a voluntary, a couple weeks ago, and he didn't show up yesterday, I don't think anybody would even if they reported it, I don't think anybody would have said anything. It was the fact that people were building up, and it was almost what concerned me, Robin, like you were saying, is the real colors of people. Like, it was almost like these people didn't want him to come, so they could kind of dig in and be like, yup, see, just like
start slinging their arrows.
All this bullshit is real. He is a bad teammate. He is not, and
malcontent.
It was just it was almost easier for people to want that, which I don't know, as a Bills fan and being a part of this and seeing what, going through the drought like we did and seeing what the greatness Stefon Diggs has brought to this team. I don't even if, something legit is going on here, why would you want to wish negativity on that? Why would you want to be like, see, yep, told you, great, right. He's a scumbag. Like, that's what bothers me the most. Like, people really, like, I told you so, but like, you told you so what? Like you want 1-4 to be like this? Like I don't know. So
Yeah.
that's where I was
Kind of
kind of
dancing on the grave a little bit, and kind
yeah,
of, they were
exactly.
really ready for a chance to kind of, to take some shots at him, to be honest. And I think that that's what it was, because I think that his energy makes some people uncomfortable, to be honest with you, DT. I think
Yeah,
that
for sure.
his passion makes some people uncomfortable. I heard a lot of references to the Cincinnati game, DeMar Hamlin situation, and I heard people on WGR calling in yesterday on Tuesday's show and talking to, oh man, well, he was ready to play and he was the only one ready to play, and this that because there was a 10-minute period where we didn't know if they were going to get back on the field or
Yeah.
not. So he was taking it upon himself to make sure that he was getting everybody amped up, ready to go back out if they had to go back out. And we've already touched on that a couple episodes ago, but how DeMar Hamlin's the first things he said out of his mouth when he woke back up was, did we win the game? So Stefon Diggs was ready to go back out there if the NFL said go back out there. Once they said chill, he was chill. But until then, he didn't know if they had to go back out there, so he wasn't going to let those guys go out there with tears in their eyes. He was trying to get them fired up to go back out and play the game if the NFL was going to require them to finish it. So it was very, very interesting. One of the most interesting characters, DT, in this whole thing is, again, and we've spoken about it, was Sean McDermott, man. I really feel like, and I know sometimes when you have previous biases about a person, you can find ways to get to the end result that you want to get to. I think,
which is the point we're talking about, right? This is why people are,
Yeah, I think, and I was just going to say that I think that a lot of people were doing that with Stefon Diggs that already felt uncomfortable with him or didn't like him or something like that, or had some stuff bubbling under the surface. You guys all know here at Nickel City Crew that I am not his biggest proponent. I'm not that impressed with some of the, the monikers and the trust the process and some of the cool things and find a way and all this other type of stuff. I understand that he's professional. We've talked about it ad nauseum. I appreciate the success that he has brought to the Bills and the level of professionalism. However, I am not giving this man carte blanche to just do whatever he wants to do. So he kind of set the stage for us yesterday, DT, Nickel City Crew. He let us know in the morning, 89 guys were there. They had one tryout player as well there. Stefon Diggs was not in attendance. This is the mandatory portion of minicamp, the last camp that they will have before they break before training camp. Listen, he says he's very concerned. He used the words twice and said very concerned. I feel like that set the tenor for the rest of the day. Everybody at that point in time was all, oh, well, the coach is very concerned. Now I'm very concerned. Maybe if I was at a level 4 concern, now the coach said he's very concerned. Now I want a level 8 or 9. Now I'm really concerned, or a level 10. And I saw plenty of people way over a 10 yesterday. So here is Sean McDermott today. Again, we release these episodes on Thursday. So this is from Wednesday afternoon. Stefon Diggs comes back. His agent, again, was protecting his client, let everybody know out in the media that my client was at One Bills Drive. He showed up on Monday for physicals. He passed his physical, and then he talked to Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott on Tuesday. He was in the building, and then he was ready to practice. For whatever reason, we don't know, he left. Here is Sean McDermott with some of the reasons why he was very concerned, and I guess today, not very concerned, if that makes any sense.
No, I wanted to follow up on my comments regarding Steph's situation from yesterday, and doing so hope to provide better clarity for all, right, and a better understanding of the situation. So I think there's a lot of things out there that aren't accurate. Let me be clear. Steph did everything that he was asked to do. He was here Monday and executed his physical on time. Steph reported yesterday, Tuesday, and reported for meetings, at which time we had a good conversation, great communication, and we got to a point yesterday where we just felt like we all needed a break and some space. And so I gave Steph permission to get some space and head out, and then picked up those conversations after practice.
Now, my first thing, and the first, I think it was Sal, it wasn't Capace, but I think it's the other Sal Marinaro. He's the first one. He was right on it. Ask him, why did he say, why in the ham sandwiches, my father would say, DT, did you say very concerned then yesterday? Because now you're trying to spin it to the Mafia. Nickel City, you're trying to spin it that everything is fine. No big deal. I gave him permission. Yesterday, you said nothing. You gave us no whiff of permission. Do you know that this
Yeah.
would have had no legs? This story would have had very little legs if he would have just came out and said, you know what, we had some great conversations this morning. We felt like we needed a little bit of a break, and we let Steph go. He's been excused from today's practice. That now, obviously,
Done.
people will still speculate. Obviously, people are still going to do their investigating, like we're going to do a little bit later tonight. But a lot of the meat and a lot of the teeth are going to be taken out of this conversation if you just are upfront and honest from the beginning. I don't buy it. He was pissed yesterday. He sounded pissed. It was a very curt and short answer when he was asked about the attendance of the actual first mandatory minicamp. You hear this guy. I mean, he's now it's no big deal. And then the first thing is, I mean, there's a lot of misinformation out there. What misinformation? I mean, like, the man came to practice and then didn't practice and left the facility, and now you're trying to make us believe that it was no big deal and that you gave him the day off. I don't know, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm calling bullshit on that.
It's
DT.
sketchy.
I'm sorry,
It's sketchy, Rob. It's sketchy. And so we got to look at this down two avenues, right? Because, again, we don't know what happened. Nobody does, other than
right.
Steph Diggs, Josh
The
Allen,
players, the
Sean
coaches,
McDermott, and
yep.
Brandon Beane. Even, I mean, I was genuinely believe some of the players don't even know. The way they were kind of talking today, like Mitch Morse was just like, I don't know. I hope he's good. Like, I'm trying to do my job, So,
Yeah.
but we got to look at this down two avenues. One, did Stefon Diggs come in with an issue and use this as kind of his platform? He knew there was kind of some build up to this.
Right.
He knew there was kind of, so he knew all eyes were going to be on him. I want to get my point across. This is an opportunity to do that.
Right.
Was it Stefon Diggs, or was it the reverse side of the team knowing, all right, 14's coming back into the building. We're going to let him know it's not acceptable what he did last year. It's not acceptable to be yelling on the sidelines every time we're having a bad day.
Put him in this place.
Yeah, and Stefon was just coming back to get back to work, and the team sits down and puts him in his place, and Diggs like, well, hold on a minute, and goes on from there. And that might have caused McDermott to kind of have that attitude of, I'm very concerned. We sat him down and tried to straighten him up, and he, and he walked out. So, and then kind of reeled that back on today. So both avenues here. Was it Diggs coming in with an issue, or was it the team bringing Diggs in to address an issue? So that's kind of the avenues you got to look at it. And you can play the fiddle on both ways with how, the players and McDermott, kind of acted with the way he was very concerned and then everything was good. And what got me concerned, not was Coach McDermott yesterday, was Josh Allen's press conference.
Yeah, which was really shitty.
He's a budding superstar. He's getting good with the media. He knows what to say, but he had some tells.
He must have said 55 times.
He had some tells yesterday, and he's not that seasoned yet, Rob. He's not that seasoned yet, and there was some uneasiness in him there. I love him, man. I love him.
I love him. He said, he said he had to fight. Yeah, I fucking love him. I mean,
we know this. Like, this has been one of the best favorite stories of Bills Mafia. Is the cover of Sports Illustrated, the best friends playing Call of Duty together. They love each other.
The bromance.
The clip before the Detroit game where he's like, "I'm thankful for you." He's like, "Oh, you'll never know how thankful." Yes. All that. We know you love each other. So why are you up on the podium on all this drama happening, and you're sitting there going, "Oh, I just love him, man. I just love him." So that makes me think, like, damn, like maybe something legit is going on. Like if QB1 is kind of, like that, and Von, very polished with the media. He even had some falter, like, I'm on Steph's side. He kept saying, I'm on Steph's side. And then Capaccio, I think, was actually like, well, what's the other side? And he's like, oh, no, there's not two sides. I support Steph.
Yes.
And it was just all real wonky yesterday. And I didn't, as much as, McDermott said very concerned, and then the players get in those press conferences, that's kind of what got me a little rattled when it came to that. Because I was still holding true, like, it's fine, we'll figure it out. And then they start talking, and I'm like, damn, like maybe something legit is going down. So both avenues, was it Diggs coming in with an issue, or was it the team bringing the issue to Stefon Diggs?
Yeah, man, it was interesting because, I just thought that everybody really didn't handle it the right way in respects to, I mean, Josh did the best that he could, and I know a lot of people are sympathetic for him, and he's got to be. Listen, he's paid very, very well. He is the face of a billion-dollar franchise. If he's got to get up there and take some arrows, then that's part of the job description. You know, he is the quarterback. That's the most important position. But he did sound alarming to a lot of people. He used maybe 55, 60 times. He almost said offensive coordinator, and then stopped himself and said offensive court and stopped. Like, so listen, I have always. We'll do some little investigating here, but I have always thought that it was a situation where Stefon Diggs wants the level to be raised, and I don't think that he is accepting anything mediocre from anybody. And that could be the coaches, that could be the OC, it could be McDermott, it can go down to his teammates. Doesn't matter. I think that it's really interesting that Josh Allen throughout the entire offseason has been letting everybody know that he's so focused and that he's more focused than he's ever been and that he's ready to go. Not that he wasn't before, and he's always, ready to, not that I wasn't before, but I'm more focused than ever before. And McDermott will echo those things. And then all of a sudden we've got issues with, what's going on with Stefon Diggs. And like you said, the buildup leading up to this was kind of in a situation where it was almost like it was like a pressure cooker and it was getting ready to pop off. And yesterday I don't know what happened yesterday, and you don't know either, and nobody knows. But it was really interesting that he came, got his physical on Monday, comes back for practice on Tuesday, and then doesn't practice. And then today we have our head coach telling us that they had great conversations and they had and positive and wonderful conversations. And I gave him the day off. But then again, the key thing is that he neglected to tell the media yesterday when he lets everybody know that he's very concerned. So I thought it was just weird. I thought everything was just out of sequence, basically.
And push that message to the team. Listen, Josh, when you get up on the podium, deflect. We're all good. Yeah, we'll figure it out. No problem. And it wasn't like it was like, we're working some things internally, non-football related.
Non-football, but then everything he talked about was football.
Yeah. Well, what's internal on a football team that isn't football related, Rob? So then people started talking about mental stuff and which is something if that's it, that's something that needs to be addressed, whatever. But there's only a certain few things it could be if it was Diggs coming with the problem. And then my first initiate yesterday was like, well, if it's Diggs has an issue, why didn't he bring this up 3 months ago or through the offseason? Sit down and be like, yo, listen, I'm not okay with this. We got to do this and this different.
Right.
My answer might have been because he knew it would cause some sort of a scene yesterday in a way that was like, let's see what happens when I pop off like this. So that kind of almost makes me lean to that latter what I was talking about of maybe Diggs came in with no issues yesterday and the team kind of brought the issue to him. So that's why McDermott was acting like that, and that's why it was like, oh, we're gonna show him we're gonna show him how we handle things here, and then they saw how bad it blew up, and we're like, well, it's all good. I excuse him from practice.
Yeah, it was all good because you can't handle him. You know what I mean? He is not a situation where you can't bullshit him. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to BS him. I don't know. I kind of tend to think that it was a situation where he might have been a little bit upset with the direction of the offense. I think that it could be, maybe a little bit directed towards Ken Dorsey. I tried to call into WGR yesterday. I didn't have time to wait on hold because so many people were logging up the lines. But I really thought that there was a situation where it could have been maybe a Ken Dorsey thing, DT, where he doesn't like the direction of the offense, came in wondering, what are the plans? Are we just running it back? And when they told him that, we're kind of just running it back, we're going to try to do the same thing again. That's not going to be okay for him because he saw how last year ended. He saw how 13 seconds ended. And it's a situation where good is not good enough anymore for him. Okay and mediocre is not okay anymore for him. He wants a ring, not that other people don't. It seems like there's always a misconception that because he's so hungry, well, that doesn't mean that other people are not hungry. Never said that. People are not saying that Josh Allen doesn't care or the coaching staff doesn't care as much. It's just that he shows his passion in a different way, and he's going to be vocal about his displeasure. He's going to be vocal about what he wants to see done. I really get a lot of sense that he is looking to be heard. And anytime that somebody's not listening to you, DT, and you know that as men, it's a little bit different for us because we thrive on respect. And if I'm asking you for something and if I'm voicing my concern to you, DT, and you're kind of sloughing me off and kind of sweeping me under the rug and giving me lip service, that's going to piss me off quick. It's going to make me mad because I could tell you that you're being disingenuous. I could tell that you're not really listening to me, and you're kind of condescending right now. You're kind of, you know what I mean? You're kind of playing with me right now, and that's going to piss me off. If they were any way, shape, or form acting like that towards Stefon Diggs, I can understand this guy being upset because of the fact that, listen, man, I keep telling y'all that this is the way that things need to go. I know what I'm talking about. I've got high football IQ. It's not just Ken Dorsey that's smart. It's not just, McDermott that's smart about football. I know football too. I've been playing this sport my whole life, and you guys keep not listening to me. You guys are not paying me any attention. I could see how that could really make somebody upset, especially somebody that's passionate about their craft and serious about their craft. I could see that.
Trust the process. No man's above the team.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, coach, I think we got to change some things up next year. Trust the process. No man's
Mm-hmm.
above the team.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he saw that as, exactly that. Like, all right, they're not going to listen, so I'm going to wait till mandatory camp when I know it's about to pop off, and I'm going to cause a little bit of a scene and make them know what they got in me. And so maybe that was it too. And all this, there's this talk about like, yeah, he's a competitor, but like, he's still got to go to practice, and I agree. But if he was excused, he would have been there. It sounds like he would have been there. So I don't think that's the issue where he's just going to start boicotting things because he's upset. He's not that type of guy or that player, and that's gonna roll forward. I think this is an opportunity. If other guys on the team got to start getting that type of dog in them, they got to start acting with that aggression and that fire to, so Diggs doesn't have to do it all, and I spoke about that in the miseducation episode about that's, I think 17's next step to become a great is to take that, to get into people and, if somebody runs a bad route, like, you're into them on the sideline. You're the one yelling with your hands out on the sideline. Like, and that's not making you a bad teammate. That's perfection is the only acceptable outcome. And I think that's, a lot of, maybe that's what Diggs is trying to get through. Like, I can't be the only one like this. I can't be the only one,
upset.
And not that everyone isn't passionate or anything, but like, you guys got to be pissed about this, So maybe this is an opportunity for other players on the team to really, get in tune and have that, sort of biting them where it's like, yo, you didn't touch that line on that sprint. Like, fuck you. Like, we're trying to win a Super Bowl. Like, let's go. So instead of alienate him as like, oh, he's just competitive and not everyone else shows their competitiveness like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we gotta start seeing more, more of that grit on the team so he doesn't feel like he has to do it all.
You know what it sounds a lot like to me, DT? It sounds like expectations have been raised, and it sounds like the grow up episode that we did, and it's time for everyone to grow up. We are not the drought Bills anymore, and it's okay. The way that the fans talked yesterday was disgusting because of the fact that it was almost like you guys want to go back to shitty football, because if you're kicking Stefon Diggs out of town, then who can you play with them? If you're going to kick an all-pro out of town because he skipped a mandatory practice or was sent, now we find out today that he was sent home and was excused from practice so everybody could get some space, the coach wants to tell you and have you believe. If that's the case, then it sounds like everybody needs to start to grow up. Expectations have raised. It's not okay. What's been okay is not okay. I'll repeat that again. What's been the status quo and, oh man, that's good enough try is not okay anymore. It's time for everybody to graduate. They were ready yesterday. A lot of fans were ready to get rid of them, DT, and it was disheartening because I'm like, what do you think that this damn offense is going to look like without Stefon Diggs? Does anybody even want to close their eyes and imagine what the team would look like if it wasn't for Stefon Diggs? Josh Allen, your own quarterback, said it yesterday, said this does not work what we're trying to do here without him. He was clear and concise with that. There was no umming, there was no, stuttering or anything like that. He said it does not work what we're trying to do without 14. I think that is the biggest ring of endorsement that you can give any player, is to say that, listen, man, what we're trying to accomplish here doesn't get accomplished if he's not a part of it. If that's not the biggest ringing endorsement, I don't know what is.
Fans are one thing because, like you said, in the grow up episode, like, we lived through the drought. Some people are just happy to be somewhat decent and they can call it a day with being somewhat decent. Nobody on this team was in the drought. They don't give a shit about us missing the playoffs for 17 years. This is the Bills team now, and most of this roster has only
enjoyed success,
decent success. So that is elevating success from year to year has got to be the priority with these guys. It's not the excuse of like, oh, it's settling, like some fans can settle, whatever. You and I aren't. We're elevating our game, but this team, every person on this roster and this team only knows this winning way, but the winning way keeps getting you knocked out in the divisional round. So
Right.
we got to step up to a next level, and I think that's what Diggs' main thing is trying to do. Like I'm getting on the gas full bore until everybody freaking understands what we need. Like we have to go full bore. There's no other excuse. Like we thought we had it all. We had the nice roster last year. We went through all the trials and tribulations. Still only
Super
3
Bowl
losses.
favorites. Mm-hmm.
Still only 3 losses, and it wasn't good enough. So all that, like where we think it's good, we have to go above and beyond of that. And it might be a little aggressive to some people, but that's what it's going to take to win the bowl, man.
And what I respect, I'm glad that you said that at the end, because what I respect about Stefon Diggs is that he's willing to get uncomfortable. He's willing to get uncomfortable. So, it's interesting because, uncomfortable is that's where the best stuff can come from, is when you're not comfortable. The tragedy with George Floyd. And then afterwards, I used to watch Emmanuel Acho, and I talked about it in season 1 of Nickel City Crew. And like they used to do uncomfortable conversations with a black man. And I used to love those episodes because he was talking about real life issues. And they were conversations that a lot of people don't want to have. And he would have on Matthew McConaughey and other stars would be on there, and they would talk and they would chop it up. And, he had on cops, black cops, white cops. And it was great because the conversations were normal conversations that you wouldn't want to have, uncomfortable conversations where you can have growth from. I think that Stefon wants the offense to grow. I think he doesn't want it to be stagnant. And I think that he left so many clues in that Dan Patrick interview that we did, that we replayed on the Miseducation episode, where he kind of left you guys the tea leaves. And maybe, a lot of people didn't listen to it, but I encourage everybody to YouTube that Dan Patrick, Stefon Diggs interview right around the Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl week, and he really did tell some of the stuff that was pissing him off. He said that right around bye week, just like we said, that the offense was harder, that it was going away. He said that they were going away from some of the stuff that had made them successful earlier in the year. That bothered him because of the fact that why are we trying to reinvent the wheel? I think he really misses Dable. I think he misses the structure of the offense, some of the easy layups. We talked about layup lines and stuff like that. The fans saw the same thing that the players obviously were experiencing, and we're not crazy with what we saw with our eyes. The offense was having a difficult time in the second half of the year. Points were harder to come by. Josh Allen was putting on the cape. You've talked about it ad nauseum, DT, and I think that it was the situation where he doesn't want to just press the replay button. How about that? He doesn't want to just press replay and say, well, we'll just see, we'll let the chips fall this year. He wants to see something change. He wants to see some type of something different to actually make up for the lack of whatever they were lacking last year. And I'm not trying to put everything on Dorsey's feet or McDermott or anything like that. I'm just saying that something was wrong. It was different. The offense was harder. And I think that he noticed it just the same way that we noticed it as fans. So why is he the bad guy? Because he's pointing it out to his peers and to his coaches. I don't think that makes him a bad guy. I think that makes him somebody that is hungry to win. Again, not saying that the other players are not hungry to win. I'm just saying that he's willing to step up and say something. And I admire that. I don't shun him for that or want to ship him out of town for that.
And if he's saying that, it's stop just checking the boxes, right? If you're McDermott, stop just getting the 10, 12, 11 wins and we're good enough, we're successful, we're in the playoffs. That's good enough. If you're Ken Dorsey, I'm going to move the ball around. We're going to be prolific on offense, but I'm just doing it to show that I'm a capable coordinator, not to win games and be risky and be the best, in the league. It's we're going to spread the ball around just to spread the ball around. We're going to run this just to show you I can run.
Or I'm not running Dable's scheme just to say that I'm not running Dable's scheme.
Exactly. So stop if Diggs is saying that, he's saying stop checking the boxes. Like we're checking the boxes isn't good enough. Like we need to elevate. We need to take risks. We need to be meaner. We need to be faster. We need to do everything better. And we not just for the accolades and the box. The only accolade is the ring. And that's what I think. If this is the issue, that's what he's preaching. And you had a great point, Rob. He's leaving tea leaves. It's not acceptable, and I do not blame him for that because I don't want to walk out of another divisional AFC championship at home, whatever, walking out of that other loss like, man, another year we had Josh Allen, Stefon Diggs, and we didn't get it done. and that's what they're trying to avoid. So if that's the case, that makes the most sense. I'd say good we hash this out and talk this out, because that's the most clarity I think I've had on it when you said that. Like, he's been leaving the tea leaves of, this good is not good enough, and if he's bringing that and that's the issue, that's good. That means they're going to have to listen, and players are going to have to step up to that level and get on board. To make it, I need to make a scene so everyone gets on board, and it's not just Stefon Diggs. I don't think saying I know all. You have to do what I
No,
say. Like, because
no, I don't
he
think
just
that.
says I think he realizes that things have got to change and be different, and we can't just check the boxes, and we're not just spreading the ball out to spread the ball out. And maybe that's a little bit of beef into Josh of quit being a cuck to this to this organization. Like, start being a baller and let's ball out. Like,
Yeah.
so
I mean, and he talked about it even with Dan Patrick, and talked about how, they put so much into this. They dedicate so much time. He dedicates year round to getting his body right and then he was like, when we go out there, do that. It was all for that. You know what I mean? And he's referring obviously to the Cincinnati game. And when Dan Patrick, we listened to it, guys. When Dan Patrick, pinned him down on the side, the side, all I keep hearing yesterday and today, the sideline outburst, and all. And I'm like, listen, man. And he even talked about it and said it was a culmination when Dan Patrick pinned him down on it. And how'd you feel about it? Why did you react that way? It wasn't just that he missed him on the third play of the game, and everybody, Mike Schopp on WGR loves to talk shit about Diggs because it was a third play of the game, and you're bringing negative energy and to the team and stuff like that, because you don't know what Josh Allen is going through on that play, and it's the third play of the game. He keeps talking about it, and it was pissing me off. Like, it doesn't matter if it's the third play, fifth play, last play. He said it was a culmination. It could have been weeks before. He wasn't getting the ball. I mean, I went to Detroit to watch the Bills play, and on Thanksgiving, it was, right till the end, and then he finally got the ball, and you know what I mean? And then that Cleveland game in Detroit, Sean McDermott's got his hands on his shoulders trying to calm him down because he had gone a whole half without getting a pass or whatever the case may be. I don't think that he's worried about targets. I don't think he would even care about targets if we went 17-0 and win a Super Bowl. It's not about that. He's not looking for recognition from targets. He thinks that he can affect the offense in a positive way. So he wants to whatever's going on. And if that means throwing me the ball, then fine. And if that means that everybody's rolling coverage and Gabe Davis is ready to shine like in 13 seconds and break records, fine. It doesn't matter. But we've got to find a way to win these games that we keep coming up short on. And I think that that's what he's obsessed about. He is obsessed with winning. I told you, DT, that I watched The Last Dance, and he reminds me a lot of Michael Jordan, because Michael didn't care about your feelings. He didn't care about anything that was going on other than winning. And if you didn't want to get on the train, then he was going to ridicule you until you did get on his level. And I see a lot of Michael Jordan and Stefon Diggs. He is not accepting less than greatness. He wants greatness, and that includes everybody. McDermott, Dorsey, Allen, his teammate, all the other teammates. He is expecting you guys to step up. It is not okay just to be okay anymore. And I think he looks at every year that they don't win it, now that they have this great team that you talked about, DT, as a wasted opportunity. I really do think that he looks at it like that.
Yeah, you said it best. The stats are not the issue here. He's not bitching about not getting the ball for his stats. He's bitching about not getting the ball because he believes, and I believe, he's the best chance to win.
Yes.
Like, straight up.
Yes.
How could you argue that? How could you argue that? So Josh Allen, best player, but he is the best option for us to win games, down the stretch. Like,
hands down.
If you have a gun to your head and you say, I got to throw the ball to one player, it's got to be 1-4. Everybody's got to agree on that. Like, it's not a hidden deal here. Like, we're not, as blessed as some of these other teams with two crazy number one guys. Like, It is a clear cut number one. He is, if this is why this whole thing happened and he is upset, it is because he thinks he's the best option to win games. And how do you not agree?
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, like I said, he said it yesterday best, that none of this works. And I just that quote just stuck with me when I listened to the interview, because a lot of people were talking about it. And Josh sounded nervous, and Josh sounded a little bit unsure, and Josh was trying to tiptoe and stuff like that. So I listened to it, and I'm playing with the kids in the back alley, and we're playing, and we're going to the park, and we're walking around, and I've just got it on, and I'm listening to him. And it was funny because he did say about 55 times, but he did say that one thing, and I really honed in on it. It was that none of this works. And it just seems so logical to say, because as fans, we see the same thing. And it's just sometimes it's like, here's your sign. You know what I mean? Like, duh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, duh. Of course, everybody can tell that this guy is very important to the team, very important to the success. And I'm not saying force feed him the ball. I was on Buffalo Rumblings. I love that community, and I like to go back and forth with some of those guys on there. And the bunch, he's worried about his target. And I'm like, he's not worried about targets. He doesn't care about targets. I'm like, look at 13 seconds. That's not what his focus is. That's not what drives him. Is how many targets he gets and how many yards he gets. It's about winning, and he wants to win, and he's sick of coming up short. So I'm not going to continue to repeat myself because of the fact that the Bills want you to believe that it's done, which is laughable. They want you to think that it's over. The coach today, I don't even need to play the rest of his interview. You can go listen to it. It was just funny to see that he started off the interview that way by really just he was just full of shit, to be honest, to me, that all of a sudden he was excused. But yesterday you wouldn't tell us that he was excused, which would have literally stopped half of the drama. Like it would have stopped half of it if you told him that he was excused, because then all we would have talked about, well, man, he must be pretty pissed. What did they talk about? The coach said they had great conversation, but he still went home he said everybody needed some space, is what he said today. So that's fine. They're trying to dress it up. They're trying to put lipstick on a pig. That's fine. I don't, like you said in the beginning of the show, I don't want there to be problems. I don't want there to be drama or anything like that. However, if it's in the name of raising the level, then you guys already know here at Nickel City Crew, I'm all about growing up. I'm all about putting your big boy pants on, your big girl pants on, and let's go get us a ring. Let's go get the fans a parade. I'm all about that energy. If it's about growing up and not being okay with mediocre, I'm all about it, because as you talked about, DT, living through the drought, we've had enough mediocre for 2 lifetimes. So I'm good with mediocre. I enjoy the success that the Bills are enjoying right now. And I love watching my team play. And that's why I think it was so stark yesterday, DT, as we begin to wrap up. Just crazy how many people were ready to turn their back on it. Yeah. And I don't know what I mean, right now, as we're sitting here, DT, I don't know what I'm going to name the episode, but it's going to be something along those lines. It's got to be something with that, because yesterday was so stark, and today it bled into it a little bit before practice, was just how many people were ready to they were just done. And I was like, wait a minute, what about all the touchdowns? What about all the, like you talked about, the bromance with Josh and 17 and 14, and they all reminds us of Jim Kelly and Andre Reed, and we love it, and this and that. Just as fast as they do it, just as fast as they love all of the positives, one sign of problems, and they were done. There were a lot of people yesterday, and you guys know who you guys are at Bills Mafia. You guys were done with this guy, and I just hope you guys keep that same energy, because I think he is he's integral to what we do here. He is so important, and as Josh said, nothing gets done without him, especially on offense.
Yeah, I'll leave with my last point here tonight, Rob, of the people that were on that, the mafia that was acting like that, really better watch themselves, because this isn't going to be this team forever. There's going to be a point where the Bills stink again, and we're going to be hopefully doing Nickel City Crew talking about, when we're getting our next franchise, whatever the case is. Watch yourself, because this isn't lasting forever. And I bet half those people calling in, causing a scene on Instagram, causing a scene yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I bet half of them are putting their 1-4 jersey on Sunday this year. They're putting the Diggs Allen sign in their front yard. Yep. They're ready to go. When he's scoring touchdowns and winning for us, it's all good. And then a little bit of drama and you want them out. So watch yourselves. Watch yourselves.
I like that.
It's not always going to be like this. And you and I, and there's some fans like you and I that we're going to get to a point where it's going to boil over for us too. And we're going to start coming at y'all as well. And,
yeah, man, I'm chilling. I've been chilling. I'm trying to chill.
I was. It only took a little bit. I had.
It bothered you. No, it bothered you. It bothered you.
Pissed.
It bothered you. Today, I was listening to One Bills Live, and I had to turn it off. I was going to get my car washed, and I just had to turn. I had to turn it off because I was like, head case. He's and this guy was basically the other guy was like, basically, shut up, go to practice. He said it. You have nothing. He has nothing. He got paid. He has nothing to be upset about. I'm like, whoa. In my mind, I'm like, whoa. You are not in the locker room. How do you know he has nothing to be upset about? And it's not about just money. Just because he got his money doesn't mean that he doesn't want to win. And that's the difference. A lot of people, and I'll close on this, because a lot of people forget that it's not just about the money for a lot of guys. Now, for some it is, and that's what separates the Marcel Dariuses from the Hall of Famer, from the Aaron Donalds, that's the difference. As soon as Marcel got paid, he got lazy, he got fat, he got lazy. No problem. There's plenty of guys that just want the check. They do this because they're good at it. They've been playing football their whole life. They get to the pinnacle of it, the NFL, and then they cash in. They get that second contract, they cash in, and it's kind of just feet up on the desk. Not every player is like that. Some people are really driven by greatness. Some people are driven by legacy, so to speak. They want to be considered among the greats. They want to be a champion. And we should know all about that here in Buffalo. How many great Hall of Fame players have we had that never got a chance to get the ring, but they were great players, Kelly and Reed and Bruce Smith, my favorite, and Thurman, one of my favorites. Like, those guys were great generational talent. Bruce Smith, one of the greatest defensive ends ever. Body perfect, chiseled when he came out in 1985, like just perfect. Everything was perfect and never got a ring. So some of those guys really do care about getting a ring. Watch Four Falls of Buffalo. Watch Daryl Talley, damn near in tears crying about the missed opportunities. Watch Scott Norwood and crying when he talks about how Bills Mafia welcomed him down at City Hall and told him that it was okay after Super Bowl 25. And like, if that doesn't bring, make you emotional as a Bills fan, I don't know what will. People do care about stuff other than just money. And for Bills Mafia to say, oh, he's got his money, shut up, go to practice. No. He there was something that he wanted to get out. Clearly, our coach finally told us the truth today. And I hope everybody picked up on that McDermott is full of shit, and like, it's fine. That's a whole nother episode, but he tried to pull the wool over your eyes. If you guys want to, be fooled by him, I have never been fooled by him, and I wasn't today. It was just really convenient that today it was great conversation, and those were positive conversations. And then when the media said, well, do you consider this done? Oh, he was great. Oh yeah, no, it's resolved. I mean, of course, because he wants you guys to shut up and stop talking about it. So that's fine.
Yeah.
I understand everybody wants to stop talking about it. Stefon brought up something to his peers, something to his coaches, and they talked about it. And whether that made people uncomfortable or not, I'm okay with it. If it's in the vein of trying to win, if it's in the vein of trying to raise everyone's level, I'm okay with it. You've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable sometimes. And Stefon Diggs he's taking on that role. He's down with it, man. He doesn't care if you're going to sling some arrows his way or whatever the case may be. He's got a goal in mind. And I think him and Josh are going to be just fine, DT. I do think that they will figure it out, whether it's with the OC or whether it's with McDermott himself or whatever the case may be. I do think that this will get worked out. The timing is very funny. And I think that you hit the point, was that this was kind of calculated in respects to the fact that he wanted people to be talking about it because of the fact that no, okay, it's not okay anymore. So, well, we just gonna run it back again? Oh, okay, no problem. Like and then okay, no problem. You know what I mean? And that type of thing. And I think that it was a situation where he made some people uncomfortable yesterday, and maybe they said, okay, go home, man. Okay, come back tomorrow because we can't deal with this right now. And then everything kind of hit this fan. So it's been interesting, DT. The players, again, tomorrow will be, when this episode releases on Thursday, that'll be the last day of mandatory. I know now Bills Mafia loves that word, mandatory. So Stefon Diggs expected to be there tomorrow because it is mandatory. It is his job. He will go to work tomorrow like you and I. And then the Bills will break. So we will take a little bit of a break too. The players will go. They'll go on vacation. They'll be with their families, go back to their hometowns, maybe go out of town. And then all we have to do is just cross our fingers. Everybody stays healthy. Nobody on them jet skis or getting injured or anybody breaking a leg on a motorcycle or anything crazy. Nobody do anything crazy. Come back healthy for camp. And then before you know it, DT will be at St. John Fisher, ramping things up, man. I mean, the season is rapidly approaching, whether you believe it or not. Summer is in full swing. Kids are getting ready to get out of school. And it's almost time. So I'm happy we do all the house cleaning now because it is time to get focused pretty soon. DT on a championship.
Yeah, be grateful, Mafia, that this team doesn't have a lot of drama and issues because they showed their colors yesterday that they are not great at damage control. They are not great at damage control. So
no, they are not.
Let's hope this plugs it up and we move on. But yeah, I think we're good. This was good, Rob. Good to get it out tonight. And Watch yourselves out there. Watch yourselves.
DT is warning y'all. Dump Truck is saying y'all keep coming for my teammate, for my team. You know what I mean? He's ready to let y'all have it with the Twitter fingers and with the Instagram fingers. And I'm with him on that. I was in a very chill mood yesterday. I did not listen to their advice, and that's my own fault. So I couldn't get mad at anybody but myself when I was hearing some of the rhetoric. Today was just a little bit too much as well. But it's all good. All is back to normal, so to speak, and we will reconvene in about a month or so. So, as always, please spread love, not hate. If there's something crazy that comes up, obviously, you know, me and DT will come right back at you with an episode. But other than that, we are going to take a nice little break, summertime break until training camp. Please spread love, not hate. These were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Hit them with a go Bills, DT. Hit them with one, man.
Go
Everybody,
Bills.
we're all on the
Go
same
Bills.
team. We're
Let's
all
go.
on the same team. We love the
Go
Bills.
Bills. Go Bills.
Go Bills. I love Bills Mafia. Go Bills, man. I love you guys. Stop running people out of town, man. Please stop running people out of town. Social media has made the world smaller. DT hit on a good point. You don't think that Stefon saw some of this stuff? Be careful. I mean, just be careful. I tagged him. You saw what I did, DT, the other day with Miseducation.
Yep.
I tagged Stefon Diggs himself. I know that he's way too busy of a guy to obviously see that stuff, but just in case, I wanted him to know that Nickel City Crew, we got his back over here, and I tagged him and sent him the episode from a couple episodes ago.
Podcast.
Yeah, little did I know that I was going to be doing another damn episode about him a couple weeks later, but it's all good, man. I enjoy the content, and I enjoy kicking it with you guys. So go Bills, man. We good, man. We out of here, man. Go Bills. It's time to go get a tan, man.